Welcome everyone. Now in this tips number 2, I'm going to talk about some of the myths about this exam. What I feel and also gave this feedback to the CNCF is the word developer. Not in this world today, everyone is developer, right? So the word developer means that the skills around programming, which is something you need to spend a lot of time to gain a bit of skill, right? So a lot of people are kind of very scared who are not developers and do not have programming background to really try out for the exam. But I highly encourage that you go through this CNCF curriculum GitHub portal, right? And the URL, let me just post it in front of you so that you know how it looks like, right? And if you just see that, and I increase the font size. You can see that github.com CNCF curriculum. If you go there, you get to see the curriculum. And if you open the CKAD, which stands for Kubernetes Certified Kubernetes Application Developer, you'll find the official curriculum. You should always refer to this for the most up-to-date version of the Kubernetes it supports and the content you need to cover or study hard or practice really be comfortable with every topic, right? And what is the kind of weightage of the question it might come. For example, 13% of the question will come from the networking, like that. So you will find that none of this content really talks about building an application or knowledge about application or changing the source code of the application, right? So you might be loading some application. I don't know whether that kind of thing really comes, but you might be loading an application which is already written for you and you just have to deploy the container because an application which is containerized is kind of readily available. So you don't need to really um, think too much about or change anything at the application code level. So you don't have to really mind about knowing that um, developer specific experience. So be brave, try out, and nothing, I can assure there is nothing which asks you to write an application development code. So just wanted to make sure that you understand the the curriculum because sometimes by the word developer it creates a bit of confusion, right? So you just tend to think that, hey, I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer, so how can I appear for this exam? It is about not building application, it is about deploying application which is already containerized in Kubernetes. So just to give you some glimpse of it, so if I use the same Karakoda playground, which is already available, so I prefer to use that because I don't need to install anything, right? I can just start the scenario, whichever scenario I pick up, and you can see that it will just make the environment ready for me. And once the environment is kind of ready, I should be able to play around with this environment, right? So it will show me that the terminal is ready. So let me just open this up, open it in the full screen, show the presentation mode, and I say kubectl version just to make sure that the version. So you can see it's a pretty old one, right? V1.14. You might not want to use this if you're really practicing for exam, but that's okay because this right now at this point in time we are working on something which is not very specific to exam, but just to give you sort of an idea. So for example, if I, let's say, have an application I need to deploy, so I can use, let's say, Nginx image which already has an application created for me. So I can say that cube. Now let me just create the alias first. That's what I always do because I can just save a lot of typing. So I can say kubectl create deployment nginx, and then the image nginx comes from the Docker Hub. So I'll say nginx, and then I say replicas 3 and replica not S. So replica 3. So let me just quickly say that create deployment. Probably because I'm using older version, so it doesn't take that. So that's okay. So you can see that the deployment is created, and I say k get all, which will show me all the things. So you will see that I have got a deployment and I've got a replica set of 1, and then I can just see the deployment, and then application is up and running over here using cluster port IP address 10.96.01. So if I create a busybox temp pod, so I can say k run busybox, and I say image busybox. That's the image I'm using. And then I say interactive terminal, and I execute the shell command inside that. So what happens that it's deprecated use run generator for k run busybox. Okay, I should show me the. So I'll just check if that is something which is there. Yeah, it's now inside that, so I can see ls, and I say wget dash o dash, and then I try to use the service IP address that's 10.96.0.1, and it is connecting. So sort of like what I wanted to say is that you do not, here you have deployed an application without knowing how that application really looks like. So you don't really need to think too much about application. So it is already containerized, available. So they will probably have the image readily available, give you the URL of the container image, which you need to download and work against. So you can work against any of the container thing. Okay, so let me come out of this and say, and hope this kind of sorted out few of the confusions you might have with your developer wording, right? So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.